My name is Lydia Kindred and I'm Secretary with the groups working to save the railway tracks on the Casino to Wollongbar line, but also to bring regular rail services back again.
We want our trains back on the tracks. We want our trains. We need them back.
It was 16 years ago that I was standing here with my husband, Garth Kindred, who has died 5.5 years ago, and now I'm here without him and without the train that we were standing next to at the time. It's the last XPT.
We want our trains. We need them back.
There is the potential of a change of legislation coming up very soon in the next couple of weeks with the state government wanting to change it over from the protective legislation that it currently has and make it Crown land, because they're being told that no, we don't really need it or want it so much. We're happy to have a bike path instead, and that is not the truth. Byron Shire is on the right track by having both options covered. They would like to do rail trail on the side of the track, but also to have rail services throughout their shire, which goes from Bangalore, goes through Byron Bay, Mullumbimby, and all the way up to Yelgan, which is where the Splendour in the Grass and the Falls festivals happen at the North Byron Parklands, because there's already the Byron solar train happening in Byron and to the industrial estate. If they could extend it to Tyagra, which is right next to the highway, Pacific Highway, then people could just park and ride and go into Byron Bay that way.
How we move around and provide access to our older residents, our younger residents, our visitors, our workers, the teenagers who want to go and visit their friends. In a way, what we provide them helps define us. If it's simply paving more roads and putting more cars and making them wait in traffic while the environmental costs grow, that says a lot about our priorities. I think our community, both economically and environmentally, see that this rail corridor can be a real crucial part of our future going forward. It allows people to connect to our villages and our towns without having to have a car, without sitting on our roads.
The community should first and foremost have been consulted. I know I've done my consultation in my electorate. I think we're up to our third survey with the community, and loud and clear public transport comes back every single time. And, why would we be supporting the privatisation of the rail corridors? So what's happening in Casino is very disappointing, because why aren't they championing for the multi-use, to have off-formation cycle paths and preserving the corridor for the return of rail? That would be the smart thing to do, and it's very disappointing that there's a lack of leadership around that.
I rise today on behalf of the Greens to speak to the Transport Administration Amendment Closure of Railway Lines in Northern Rivers Bill 2020. A bill being rammed through Parliament without consultation with the relevant communities that, if passed in its current form, would see a rail line that has serviced the Northern Rivers for over 110 years ripped up and never to return. There has been no meaningful consultation with relevant communities in the Northern Rivers in relation to the bill. The government, of course, claims to have provided ample opportunity for consultation, but revelations from the former Mayor of Tweed, Katie Milne, show that the only state government consultation undertaken in her area involved 40 hand-picked participants, including 26 directly affected adjacent landholders, 13 organisations and MP Thomas George. Where were the town hall meetings? Where was any meaningful attempt at online consultation, or for people and residents to be given the chance to make submissions about what happens in their own towns and region?
Sadly, that is what happened. The two major parties rammed through the legislation through New South Wales Parliament to close the two ends of our Casino to Wollongbar line.
We want our trains. Back on the tracks. We want our trains. We need them back. For the future. Trains on our tracks.
We're here today to speak about the recent decision by the New South Wales Government to close sections of our railway line. They're planning to close the Casino to Bentley section and and also from the Willumbar to Crabs Creek. Yes. And the railway tracks are going to be ripped up for a bike path. The reason we're standing here outside Janelle Saffin's office is because Jeff Provost and the Nationals have pushed this decision, but she has ended up supporting it and Labor are supporting it.
I think any reasonable person would believe that as soon as you take those tracks up, they're not coming back. As soon as you decommission that as a transport corridor, it's not coming back.
I, on behalf of the Greens, have now provided the MPs in this place with not one but two opportunities to move this bill to a public inquiry that would give those affected by the removal of this rail line a chance to have their voices heard. A chance for the 10,000 plus people who signed the petitions that I tabled earlier today to express their strong opposition to the proposal to rip up the tracks and to have their calls for rail services to be reinstated. And both times the Liberals, Nationals and Labor parties have come together to deny the community that chance.
The government and Labor have stated that we have had extensive community consultation on this issue.
Bullshit!
It isn't true. When have the people of this area, of this whole region, been asked if they want to see trains running again in this area or if they want bike paths instead?
Never.
The sections on our line that have been closed now have been handed over to the local councils. So the Casino to Bentley section is managed by the Richmond Valley Council and the Willumbar to Crabs Creek section is being managed by Tweed Shire Council. Now it's up to the councils to decide whether they will rip up the tracks or whether they will consider having the bike trails beside the tracks.
So I was given a great opportunity today to actually speak directly to those tenderers and express how important it was that Council has resolved to consider an off-formation proposal, an option for the rail trail to be off the rail tracks to allow the rail tracks to stay in situ. And I made it very clear that it was a majority of councillors that asked for that option to be able to be considered and that they need to give very strong consideration to that in their tender proposals that they put forward. And I guess I couldn't state that strongly enough to them, and I think they did hear that. All of these things feel like, we're trying to make the best of a bad situation. There is opportunities in the rail trail. I understand that. I think that there is a possibility, and to see Byron Council expressing its interest in a dual purpose corridor is really, it seems like a no-brainer to me, and I think that is certainly the way that it should go, but we need to have a majority of councillors to believe that, and hear that and accept it.
Council elections this year.
Council elections are this year. Don't remind me, it's already keeping me awake at night.
Mike Yarra, my question is, how is this allowed to go ahead when the whole basis was community consultation? It's assumed to help with that. We're going to have it and do it, and we'll have the consultation after.
Yeah. I honestly have no answer for you on that.
Surely, as a mayor, you understand our sort of anger and turmoil.
I do understand it, and I think it's shared by a number of the councillors in that there has been no general consultation. There has been some consultation with the directly adjacent landowners, But that, you know, even that, I'm not sure that all of the directly adjacent landowners would call it consultation. You know, they certainly have been involved in, and we are trying to talk to people and say, what do you need in terms of fencing, in terms of diversions, what do you need? But I agree there has been no general consultation, and there is a plan to do more consultation, but it is just a bit late. I agree. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I was just saying that the rails themselves, the you know, part of removing the rails and the tracks will form part of the contract, and there was a kind of a understanding from the contractors, or I raised the issue in the meeting today, that there is likely to be civil kind of unrest when those works happen, and any contractor needs to be prepared for that eventuality.